have you read the article, 1,000 Raving Fans? And have you ever wondered to yourself, okay, yes, I want 1,000 raving fans. Yes, I see how it would help me grow my business. Yes, I see all these things. I would like those things, but I don't know how to go about creating that. Well, you are in luck because today's guest will be blowing your mind with the actual how-to guide to actually create 1,000 raving fans, or in his new book called Superfans. And today's podcast guest is the one and only Pat Flynn. He is the host of Smart Passive Income Podcast, one of the top 10 business podcasts of all time, as well as a best-selling author of Will It Fly, Let It Go, and also this newest piece of beautiful work called Superfans, bringing the humanness back to business in a way that allows you to build a legacy business while creating a fan base that sells your products. And this interview, you know, in all full disclosure, Pat is one of my business mentors. I am in his Accelerator mastermind. I have the opportunity to see his business from the inside out. And this is how Pat runs his business and his life. He is always thinking about, how do I serve first? And then that takes care of the rest. And so if you've always been on the, like, looking at his brand thinking, wow, how does he have this huge thing? He must be lucky. This book is actually how he has the business that he has. I call him a very dear friend and a mentor, and learning from him, if you implement the things he says on this podcast, you're going to see massive growth in your business. So I'm so excited to bring you Pat Flynn back on the Epic Success Podcast. Let's jump in, okay? Here we go. So Pat, welcome to the podcast again.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. I guess you liked me a little bit to have me back on again, so I appreciate that.
I think so. So I was telling the listeners in the intro how I've been privileged to be in your Accelerator program, how I've had the privilege of being mentored by you over the last year. Well, more than that, because when I started my podcast, you were mentoring me even then, but going to the next level with the business over the last year. And it's just been amazing to watch your business kind of from the inside out and see how you approach it, to see how you, like, literally what people see in you when they're looking from the outside is like who you are. Like, you're genuinely so for your community and so for them getting to the places that they want to go. And that's just been huge for me to see from the inside out as well. It's something that I admire a lot, and you just happen to have written a book about it. And that is how you created this movement. I call it a movement. It's kind of like there's these like SPI, like super fans, like crazy super fans out there, and they love you. They love what you're about. And most importantly, they love kind of what you've created. I just would love for you to talk a little bit about, where did that idea even start from? Is that just who you are, or is that something that organically grew over time?
Yeah, actually, I got lucky when I started out for a number of reasons. Number one, I got lucky. I got laid off. That's number one. Getting laid off was the best thing to ever happen to me. I didn't know it at the time, but it did become a super life-changing moment for me in such a positive way. But related to that, I started my architecture-related website to help people pass an exam, and that's how I built my first online business. And actually, that was my first encounter with a fan, interestingly enough. And I remember I got an email a couple months after starting this business from a woman named Jackie. She had purchased my study guide, and she had sent me a couple of emails. We went a little back and forth. She had some questions. And then a few weeks later, she passed the exam. And she sent me an email thanking me. But this email was like pages long, by the way. And she was just so ecstatic because I didn't know this, but she had spent like a year studying and failing. And she was like very down in the dumps because her boss was expecting her to pass. But then she found my stuff. She passed. She got a raise. She got a promotion. She was like inviting me to dinner. And I was like, I don't even know you. I don't know if April, my wife, would be stoked on that. But, I'm grateful that you passed. But then at the end of this email, she was like, I'm a huge fan. Thanks. And I was like, what? Like, I don't understand how you could actually be a fan of somebody who's like not a musician or an actress or an actor or an athlete. So I just kind of brushed that comment aside. I was like, oh, that's a nice thing to say. It's interesting. But then a couple of months went by and I noticed in my customer list that there was like 25 people from the same firm she was at. They had the same sort of end to the email address. And I eventually found out that she had convinced every single person in her office and her boss to purchase my study guide too. And she didn't have to do that. Like, it was an ebook. She could have just shared it electronically with everybody for free. But she wanted to go beyond that and make sure that I got paid back in return. So that one person, Jackie, turned into 25 paying customers, just that one person. And this totally relates to another article that inspired me when I first started out called 1,000 True Fans, written by a guy named Kevin Kelly. So key, especially for those of you who are listening who maybe you're just starting out and you're like, oh, this business thing is going to take me forever to get to that level. The truth is, if you just have 1,000 true fans being those super fans who would do things like Jackie did, who would, if you're a musician, drive 8 hours to go and listen to your set and then wait for you backstage to take a photo. Or if you're a product creator, they're going to buy your products with, they're going to wait in line 2 days early to get, camping outside of your store because they know what's coming, right? Those are your super fans. If you just had 1,000 of those, and they were to pay you on a very low end $100 a year, that's less than $10 a month for your art, your creative, your coaching, your business, whatever, that's 6 figures right there. You're already at 6 figures, 1,000 people times 100. So this was really inspiring to me because it was like, oh, like I don't need 1 million people to follow me in order for me to do really well. I just need 1,000 people who are going to become to that level of super fans. Not 1,000 people who find me, but 1,000 people who have gone through an experience with me such that they would want to pay me back in return. And this is what this book is about. It's the how-to for Kevin Kelly's 1,000 True Fans. Okay, you want to get fans? This is how it happens. And the truth is, it doesn't happen overnight. Just like when you hear a song that you like, but you don't know who the artist is, you're not immediately a fan of that person. You like the song, but that's where it starts. And that's actually where I start in the book. I talk about April, my wife, and her love for this band called the Backstreet Boys. Somehow we ended up marrying each other because I'm an NSYNC fan. So we were able to talk it out. But she was telling me about how she became a fan of the Backstreet Boys, and she brought me back to when she was 15. She had just gotten out of a bad relationship. She had broken up with her boyfriend, and the radio was playing. There was no Apple, iPod, or Spotify. It was just the radio. And she heard a song that she had heard many times before, but this time was the first time she actually listened and responded to the song. And the reason was because every lyric in the song was exactly what she was going through in that breakup, like literally to the name of the song, which was called Quit Playing Games with My Heart. Right. And so, you think about the Backstreet Boys, target audience, she fit in, 13 to 18-year-old girl. What happens in the lives of a girl who's that age? They fall in love. They fall out of love. Okay, let's write a song about that. Let's use the same lyrics that they use. Let's talk like they talk. And then, of course, she responded to that and then bought the album, got tickets to the concerts, just became a super fan over time. Even recently, like last year, went to see their concerts. She's like a lifelong fan now. And it starts with those little moments, the moment people find you. But it takes magical moments over time for those super fans to become super fans.
What is so poignant about your book coming out right now and talking about this how-to creating super fans is that there is an environment right now, almost to a frenzy over numbers and followers and inch deep and a mile wide kind of impact. And I love that you link it back to that. It does take some time, but it's in experiencing and an experience with us or with, your followers that they become fans. I would love for you to talk a little bit more about like what creates those experiences and how do people connect to them?
Yeah, I mean, you spoke to where everybody's at now, which is like, let's get more traffic, search engine optimization, let's pay for ads, and that's cool. I mean, it's important to grow your business like that. Yeah. But I feel like it's even more important to grow your business from the inside, from the people who are already there, who can bring you referral traffic, who are going to be your repeat customers, and thus allow you to get those 1,000 true fans versus feeling like the moment you turn off the ads or the moment Google makes an algorithm change, you are screwed, right? Yeah. Which is happening to people right now. And we're seeing this on all platforms. These channels like YouTube, for example, I have 200,000 YouTube subscribers. Awesome. But when I put a video out, unless it's like a really good video and YouTube picks it up, I might get just a couple thousand people watching it. Even people who have subscribed, who have voted, who had said, yes, I want to hear more from Pat. are not seeing my stuff. And we're seeing this all over the place now. Your
Yeah.
super fans are going to go out of their way to make sure this is found. Now, the reason this is the case is because there's a lot of good marketers out there talking about strategies, and people love numbers. We love when we can see what's going on. And unfortunately, fandom is not necessarily as measurable as how much traffic we have, how many of them become email subscribers, how many of them become customers, how many of them join our master program. What is that called? That's called a funnel, right?
Yes.
And a funnel is cool because it kind of automates that, okay, this is where we bring people in and then kind of things happen. The problem with a funnel is that in real life, a funnel, all you have to do is pour water in, and then the gravity kind of takes its place and it goes into where you want it to go. Unfortunately, building a business is not as automated, and building superfans in particular, it's actually the reverse. And you'll see in the book, there is a very specific sort of layout of your user base, your audience. And it starts at the bottom of the pyramid, which is, if you take this funnel and flip it upside down, they kind of align. The bottom of the pyramid, the largest portion, is your casual audience, the people who just find you for the first time. And this is where everybody's spending all their money and time.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, no, we need to go up the pyramid, which gravity's working against us. It takes manual work and labor, but amazing things happen because when you invite those people into your active audience, these are your subscribers and followers, and some of those people become a part of your community who feel like they belong to something, who will continue to come back, who will make you and your brand, your products a part of their life. And then some of them become those super fans. Yes, those super fans in the community are the smaller portion at the top, but that's where most of your audience engagement is. That's where most of your repeat customers are coming from. That's where most of the people who are going to refer new people in are coming from. And I got to tell you, it's way more fun to build for those super fan experiences versus, let me like repurpose my podcast so I can put it on YouTube and then repurpose that so I can do this and this. And it's just like boring time suck. Building for those fan-like moments are really where the magic is at. And it starts in the beginning, right? You got your casual audience. The question is, okay, how do we trigger those people, right? And I remember going to a conference once, and a presenter was on stage and was like, hey, I want you to imagine, your customers are walking down the street and they see a penny on the ground. How many of you in this audience would stop to pick up a penny? And, a couple people raise their hand. A penny, it has a little bit of value. It's there, but most people, it's not worth their time to stop and pick it up, let alone it just kind of blends in with the ground sometimes. Right. But if it was a quarter, okay, more people are going to stop and pick it up. That's cool. But what if you were $1, right? You're $1, you're a different shape. You're kind of blowing across the sidewalk. A person would go out of their way to be that $1. But here's where I take it a step further. Well, what happens when that person puts that $1 in their pocket? Are they thinking about you? Is that $1 providing them amazing experiences? Are they going to kind of share that $1 with their friends and talk about how amazing it was to find that $1 on the ground? No. You have to create something totally different that makes a person, yes, stop, yes, pick you up, but then start thinking about you, talking about you, sharing you. That's where that magic happens. But it starts in the beginning. What can capture their attention and activate them to go, ooh, I like this guy, or I like this girl. I want to stick around and be a part of this thing now. And there's a couple ways that I love doing this that I talk about in the book. I mean, there's several strategies in the book. I'll pull out a couple. My favorite one relates to providing a small, quick win. Okay. Small, quick wins are key in today's fast-moving environment where everybody's fighting for everybody else's attention and we all seemingly have no time to do anything. Right. So if you want to hook a person in, give them a quick win. And the example I use quite often is like, back in architecture days, I was a personal finance blogger nerd. I didn't have a personal finance blog, but I read all of them. This was back when you would subscribe to them via RSS feeds and you'd wake up every morning and you'd see everybody's articles in your inbox, right? And there was one blog in particular that I wasn't a big fan of, and it was because of the name. It was a little off-putting. It was called I Will Teach You to Be Rich by a guy named Ramit Sethi, right? Just the name's kind of, I don't know. Yeah. But I read an article of his once. The title grabbed me. It was like, save 25% on your cable bill in 15 minutes. Reading this script. That was the name of the article. So it was something to that like. So you open this post and it's a script. You call your cable company, you read the script, Ramit lays it all out for you, and in 10 to 15 minutes, you should hypothetically save on your cable bill. So I did that during lunch one day at Architecture. I called my cable company. I think it was like AT&T or Time Warner or something. And then I just used the script to negotiate, and I was able to save 25% in like 10 minutes. Wow. I was like, holy crap. Like, yeah. And of course, me being a little bit of a numbers nerd, I was like, oh my gosh, after punching it into the calculator, after a whole year, that's like $800 that Ramit just saved me. And then after 40 years, like, oh my gosh, you just saved me like $32,000. And I was just like, okay, Ramit's the guy. Like, I'm going to dive into all of this stuff because I that quick, like, I'm in now, right? Versus think about these other personal finance bloggers. Here's their tip. Okay, don't drink that latte, put that $4 into a savings account And, then when you're 65, then you can win.
Yeah.
Who am I going to be more interested in? Ramit, of course, because he gave me the quick win. And so it's been a lot of literature about this. There's been a lot of studies about this. Offer a small quick win in your business, your brand. I know a lot of the clients that you have and a lot of people listening to this are a lot of the higher level entrepreneurs who offer big ticket items. Yeah. You got to start small first. I know you want to change their lives, but you got to change their day first. And you can understand what that is by having conversations with them, understanding what their biggest, simplest problem is, and just literally solving that problem for them is going to get you in, or get them in and interested. And when you get them interested, then you can get them invested in what you have to offer. And that's sort of like one of my favorite strategies for getting a person who just found you to just go, oh, whoa, okay, I like this. Like, I'm in.
Yeah. And what I love about the quick win idea is that you've got this culture right now, right? With everybody going for the numbers, like we said, and that, like you said, funnel hacking and Lambroing and doing all this thing, but people are craving that connection again. They're craving that interaction, and to not feel like somebody at the top of a funnel, but to be feeling like they're a human being. And so the quick win, I know with mine, I use one of my best resources. And this was like a suggestion you had given me, like, don't hold back and give away the tiniest little thing to get big win. Let them have a big thing, a big quick win, so that they're like wanting more. Like, if that's what you're going to give me and I'm getting, what did you say, $32,000 over my lifetime, then I can't imagine what his paid stuff is like. How much more is he going? So you got so excited.
Oh, yeah.
And my clients are the same way. I give this brain priming away, which is a big part of what I do. And I've had people come back to me and go, oh my gosh, I just literally grew my business by $100,000 in the last month of listening to this. And then they're like, how do I sign up? What do I do?
I love that. And I've definitely invested thousands of dollars into Ramit.
Yes.
Since then. And he and I are good friends now, which is really cool. And he's very inspiring to me. And then, of course, you had mentioned on like the human need. And I love you always talk about that, because you're all about the brain and what happens up there. And we have this human need of not just feeling like, somebody's out there to help us, but we have this human need of and sense of belonging. We just want to know we are with people who are like us. And this is where you start to get into the higher level strategies of, okay, building a community around this brand. And it's not only you talking to them and even them talking to you, it's them finding and talking to each other. So actually purposefully creating moments where your audience can meet each other, both online and offline. And that does so much to help grow the culture of what it is that you're building, such that a person's going to continue to come back, and they might not even come back for you anymore. They're going to come back because somebody else that they met is there too. This is just like our Accelerator program, right? Like, you got to make like amazing friendships and build these connections with these other students, and you're even still in contact with each other, which I know then in return helps my program, which is really cool. And that's the kind of thing that you can have. And even bigger brands like, Lego, for example, who I talk a lot about in the book, they encourage a lot of meetups between a lot of their fans, even their niched fans. There's something called an AFOL, AFOL, which stands for Adult Fan of Lego. And if you look up AFOL meetup on Google, you're going to find hundreds, if not thousands, of opportunities a year to go and meet other adult fans of Lego in these little meetups that Lego encourages. And they're put on by adult fans of Lego. They're not like Lego puts them on. So when you empower your audience as well, it gets the audience to even come out even more. And getting them involved in your process too. Lego does a good job of this. For example, they have this thing called Lego Ideas. I don't know if you knew this, but anybody can create a Lego creation of any kind. You, me, anybody listening. And if you post it up on Lego Ideas and the other community members vote on it, if it gets more than 10,000 votes, Lego will consider it to actually manufacture as a Lego product. And they'll give you a percentage of that. And their CEO even said, like, hey, yeah, we have hundreds of designers on our team, but we have hundreds of thousands of designers in the world who can help influence what this brand becomes. And getting your audience involved in your process is so amazing. I mean, even like I know Amy Porterfield, she's a good friend of mine as well. She had this Facebook post way back in the day when Facebook pages were like the thing. And it was just so weird to me until I really understood what she was doing. But she had posted 4 different versions of a email header design. And it said like, hey guys, I need a little font help today. Which one of these 4 things do you like better for my font for my upcoming newsletter? And I was like, Amy Porterfield is one of the smartest people I know. Like, she does not need quote font help. But she's smart. She knows, she's getting her audience involved in the decision-making process. She's getting them excited about this email thing that she was about doing. And she was also exciting the algorithms as well to get people to participate. And I think she had like 600 people reply and go, number 1, number 3, number 4, number 2. Oh, maybe you should do this instead. So people are engaging with her, and it's so smart because it's just a small thing. So it's not like you have to create these giant meetups where your audience can come to. If you can, that's awesome. That's why I'm creating FlynnCon this year, my first event. But if even online, doing little things like that to get people involved, now they feel like they belong to something, and that's what's really cool.
Do you think that's why, like the idea of contests and just ways to reward your community, is that kind of plug into that growth of the community as well?
It does. Contests to me are incentives to take action, right?
Yeah.
But you can't just run a contest to run a contest, right? You can do it in the right way and you can do it in the wrong way. The wrong way would just be to have people sign up and then they don't get access to anything but just who the winner is, and that's it. There's no follow-up. There's no injection of it into the rest of your brand. There's no way for people to communicate with each other. Contests are great. I think challenges are even better, however, because in a challenge, you can create something like a pop-up Facebook group that people in the community can find who are also on that same challenge. You can be there to connect with each other, encourage each other, hold each other accountable. And then you have a place to sort of, report back to every day as people are doing this. And I've done this before. I've done, a 72-hour email challenge where people who don't have an email list are challenged to build their email list to 100 only in 3 days. So they sign up, and just through email alone, they're given an email a day to help them do that. But of course, they can also join a Facebook pop-up group to see other people who are just like them. That's what we want. We want to find other people who are just like us, whether it's online or offline. I remember I went to St. Louis one day to speak at an event, and I rented out a restaurant because I've been practicing this for a while, bringing my community together. So I rented out a pizza joint, and I had some of my community members there. I think there were like 70 people, which was super fun. And I wanted to talk to everybody, and everybody was meeting each other. And I remember at the end of the night, there was this one woman who was there who I hadn't met yet. And I felt kind of bad because I was like, oh no, like I hadn't had time with her. I got to go. So I went to her and I said, hey, I'm so sorry that we didn't have time to chat. Like, I'd love to chat with you later on if that's cool. I'm here tomorrow if you'd like. And she goes, Pat, don't take offense to this, but I'm not here to see you. And I was like, whoa, okay. And she was like, no, I love your stuff, Pat. I hear you every single day, but you know what I don't get every day? I don't get access to people who are just like me. Thank you for bringing other people like me to get together here. I met an amazing person who might even be a partner in my company, thanks to you. Thank you. Hope you didn't take offense to that. And I didn't. I really learned from that those meetups are not for me. Those meetups are for the community. And when you can foster that kind of community connection, guess what? It helps you too. So that's why I love doing things like that.
Oh man. So you give them the quick win and you build these experiences in where they can grow together and then grow forward in your brand and in the things that you're offering. What's another step they can take to continue on this quest for these 1,000 amazing fans?
Yeah, I think the quickest way to do it for an individual, this isn't scalable, but the passive part of Smart Passive Income is the last step. Right. But you need to take action. And I love this because we can all do this right now. We all have access to tools to do this, yet most people don't. And what I mean is, if you have followers, if you have customers especially, here's what you do. Open up Instagram if they happen to be following you on Instagram. Reach out to an individual on a direct message and send them a quick video. And just tell them thanks and if you can help them with anything. Like, hey, Jim, Pat here. Just want to say, first of all, thank you for following me here on Instagram. I know that you're a student of mine as well. Just want to check on you, make sure you're okay. If you need anything, let me know. The response to these personalized videos are mind-blowing. Absolute mind-blowing. You're going to get people who respond back who go, oh my gosh, I can't believe you spent time, like you took time out of your day to do that. It's only 8 seconds, right? But it was the fact that, wow, you're actually giving them a little of attention, right? That's what nobody's doing, which is why now is the right time to do things like this. And what I would do is schedule, for example, every Friday, I do this. I've put this in my calendar. Every Friday, I spend 30 minutes after lunch, and I just am on Instagram, reaching out to individuals, sending them a quick video message, and I'll tell you the response rate is like 90%. People are blown away. And some people take screenshots and then share that on their social stream. And then it, just kind of, adds fuel to that fire. But you do this because you want to do it without an agenda other than to check on people. Because, my good friend Jordan Harbinger, he said, if you're digging the well when you're thirsty, you're probably too late. You're probably going to die of thirst. It is digging that well when you don't need to, for reaching out to these people with no agenda other than to just be there and let them know that you care. That's when that time comes later on, when you do have something for sale, or you do need some help, or you do need some support, that you are now able to ask for it genuinely because you've offered some of your time beforehand. So it's like investing a little bit of time up front now to make these personal connections to customers, subscribers, even people who have just found you, to make sure you stand out, so that when it comes to the point of you asking for something, if you happen to do that, well, then it's going to be, much more genuine. It's going to be, okay. Very similar to, Gary Vaynerchuk's jab, 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 right hook, right? But I don't like that analogy because, whether it's a jab or a right hook, you're still hurting people. I like to take the other way and just go serve, 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 and then and ask for a favor.
Yeah. And always coming from that place of service. And you've got me thinking, as you were saying that, how every big investment I've made in my business has been on the back end of a relationship, not of a funnel.
100%, 100%. And you can't ask a person to marry you the moment you find them. It takes dating, right? It takes some time. It takes some understanding. And it takes just knowing that, this person's going to be here to take care of me. And that, again, doesn't happen overnight. It happens across the magical moments you create for them over time. And on that last strategy, really what it's about is creating those, unexpected surprises. What magical moment, what unexpected surprise have you offered to anybody who's following you lately? And if you can't answer that question, there's a problem, right? Even to an individual. Have you anytime recently created a magical moment for somebody? And if not, well, it's about time to start doing that, because that's what's going to grow this sort of amazing fan base of yours that will be there no matter what happens. If your website were to go away, if your social media accounts were to get hacked, if your Amazon Associates account were to be hacked or you were to be banned for some reason, well, your super fans are always going to step up and be there for you no matter where you go. This is an insurance policy. This is future-proofing your brand. And like you talked about in the beginning, we are in a weird environment right now with business, and this is the answer. This is the answer in the way business should be now, because it was the way it was done before the internet. It was relationship-based. It was, as Chris Ducker says, you go to Bob the Baker's bakery because when you step into Bob's store, the bell rings, and he goes, "Hey, Shannon, how are you? How are the kids? How was that soccer game last week? Did he score a goal this week?" That sort of thing. And even if a supermarket opened up in between you and Bob the Baker and they had bread that was cheaper, you would still make the trek to go to Bob's because you had that relationship. And you're a fan of him and he's a fan of you. And unfortunately, we've lost our ways in that. And hopefully this book is sort of a first step in helping people realize what's actually important and a way to get us back there.
Yeah, and knowing that no matter what has been put out there as the way to having passive income, watching you over the years, your passive income has always been, like you said, come at the very end when you've built these relationships and you've built these experiences. And when we boil it down, we're really all still human people having human experiences, and our basic need is to feel like we're enough, that we are part of a community and we have what it takes. When they shift from casual person to super fan, what changes do you think you see in them, in your brand? Like what shifts in them, and how does that manifest out for you?
Yeah, I mean, the most amazing shift is when they feel like they are the brand, right? Like a sports team, right? It's that person who wears the entire getup on game day, right? And they paint themselves because they feel like they're actually making an impact, because they know they are. They're out there in the cold weather in Wisconsin wearing yellow and green because they love the Green Bay Packers so much, because it's been a part of their life, and they just feel like when the team wins, they win too, right? So they feel like they're a part of it. This is you building your team in a sense. And it's really amazing the sort of mental shift that you can tell in a person when they go, when, for example, like if you were to get trolls and haters, like these people, these super fans are going to take it personally, and they're going to step up for you. They're going to go to at bat for you, which is really amazing. And that's probably the most rewarding part, is that as you grow and as you take bolder actions, as you take more purposeful stances, you're gonna upset some people along the way. But then it's the people who really care about you, who follow you, who are going to step up and defend you, even before you know those people exist. It's really amazing. People get to become really passionate about the work that you're doing and you. I mean, just like gosh, I remember there was a Golden State Warriors game during the finals against the Raptors, and Beyonce and Jay-Z were sitting kind of right courtside, and there just happened to be this photo of this woman who was talking over Beyonce to Jay-Z, and it just looked really like she was getting in her way. And I got to tell you, even though it wasn't malicious, that picture made it look like so. And Beyonce's beehive just like literally ripped her apart, right? Because they were like, hey, that's disrespectful. Get out of her way. And, they're maybe a little over the top. And of course, you get to that level when you have billions of fans and you're Beyonce. But, you can have your people step up for you in that way too and get really emotional and get behind you, which allows you to do some really amazing things when it comes to your mission beyond your business, right? Like when it comes to a lot of the nonprofit stuff that you and I are both involved in, and how your fans will step up and help support you with that too. It grows much bigger than your business when you become when you become somebody who creates super fans. And that's what I wish for every business, and every business has that possibility.
Yeah, and we just had this experience. I did a collaboration with a bunch of entrepreneurs in our tribes, and we just gave a ton of value, like serious actionable steps that people could walk away and literally grow their business within a week. And all we did was say, hey, just donate. And they showed up like crazy. We raised like $10,000 for
That's awesome.
That day.
That's so awesome.
And that to me is like, we get into this business. Some people get into it for the money, but I know my listeners, they are so about the impact that they're wanting to make, so about like transforming people's lives. And when you have this raving fan base, you actually get to see the transformation happen in them and then in your business because of them.
Right. I mean, the ripple effect is incredible, and that's why when you're just starting out and you're small, it's still worth doing. Right, yeah. Creating these super fans, because that one super fan can become the next person who grows a big audience or can make a connection that makes somebody else's life change around the world that you wouldn't even have had an impact on. And so I think whether you're small or big, focusing on not just growing your business from the outside in, traffic, SEO, that sort of thing, ads, growing your business from the inside out is what's going to make a bigger impact and bring new people in through referrals and just through those experiences and what your brand becomes known for.
So good. And I know you do this, so I would love for you to talk about this. Once you know you have them, how do you nurture them? How do you make sure they feel loved and just respected and acknowledged?
Yeah, I mean, number one, the sweetest sound to a person is their own name. And if you have a chance to kind of call people out, make them shine, it just furthers that right. Giving them the opportunity to be involved. So like, for example, my upcoming conference, FlynnCon, I would guess that 95% of the volunteers are super fans.
Yes.
Who are now going to become even bigger super fans because they are playing an important role in this event to help others and serve the audience that's there. But they now feel like they're involved and are a part of the process and are stepping up and taking responsibility for those people's experiences too, which is going to just elevate the ambiance of the entire event in whole, which is cool. And then of course, just, always being there and listening, and whenever there's criticism, being open to it, being respectful to anything that a person might say, and just kind of using that as a foundation for, okay, well, what are my next actions? And I like to let people in on what's coming next and rewarding those special super fans, letting them in early on certain processes to make them feel like, oh, wow, I'm getting like stuff that like not normal people are getting access to. This is really cool. And people love to feel like they got something that other people don't. So the more opportunity you have to do that to the higher level super fans, the better.
I love it. So, I mean, everybody has been talking about this 1,000 raving fans for a very long time. But finally, we have an actual how-to manual to create what it is that we desire in our businesses anyway, that kind of transformation and that lifelong client that just sells our programs for us, but more importantly, that we get to be a small part of their transformation. We get to witness it happening. Pat, I would love for you, I know you have a pre-order right now on the book that's going on. I'd love for you to talk about that because we'll air that before that ends. So
thank you. Yeah, if you pre-order the book, physical copy or Kindle, before August 13th, and then you submit your receipt to yoursuperfans.com, you'll get the audiobook for free, which is huge because the audiobook usually costs more than the physical book. So I know I have a lot of podcast listeners. I wanted to reward them, and especially all the podcast listeners who are on these shows that I'm being a guest on. So if you pre-order Superfans, go through Shannon's affiliate link if she has one for you, which she'll mention later. Go through that link and then submit your receipt at yoursuperfans.com, and we'll get you on the list to get that on launch week.
That's huge. And just become part of the community. We're doing FlynnCon next week.
Scary. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
So here's what I love about FlynnCon being kind of like the exclamation point on the book coming out, because here you are putting this big event. This isn't a small event. This isn't like a 3-hour thing. This is a weekend event.
2.5 days.
Yeah, 2.5 days. And all of Pat's tribe is coming together and going to be an amazing, I think, groundbreaking kind of event. I haven't heard of anything like it. And I know I don't even know all the details yet, so I'm looking forward to it so much. How are you feeling about doing something so big for your fans?
I'm excited, but I got to tell you, with it being a week out at this point, and you'll maybe hear about it on social after this goes up, and you can kind of see how it all went. But I go through waves during the day of just incredible excitement, joy, and then nervousness, anxiety. It just, I care so much about everybody's experience there, but I know that I can deliver a good show and make it different. And I've spoken at a lot of events before, and this is my way of kind of creating another magical moment for people. So hopefully it goes well. I'm excited that you're going to be there. I'm just super thankful to everybody who has helped support that. And we'll see what happens.
Very excited. And that is, just make sure go to the link, get Superfans, pre-order it. To me, it is the business book to have this year if you're wanting to grow a sustainable and powerful business that's going to last for generations. So Pat, once again, I'm smiling because Will It Fly is back there, something that I read that got me online. And here we go again. Probably this next one will probably get me catapulted to the next level. So
I hope so.
Thank you,
Shannon.
You're
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Make sure we grab those links down at the bottom, and we'll see you next time. Wow. All right. I hope you have a pen and paper and you've written down notes. He gave some amazing tips from the book. Make sure you click the link, pre-order the book. Make sure you make this a must read for your business year, because honestly, I can attest to everything he's written in this book. It is absolutely how I've built the brand I've built over the last 2 years online. If you look at my social followings, I'm not hundreds of thousands on Facebook or Instagram, but I have the privilege of having you as amazing epic success tribers and being able to serve deeply and see transformations happen for you and be there for you and hold your highest vision for you is what makes my business worth doing. And this book, Superfans, is going to help you out so much in getting to the place you want to get in your business. So I hope you enjoyed this interview. I know I did. All the links that we talked about are down below, but I just really want you to get this book. And if you're listening to the podcast and you haven't left a review yet, that's like a tip, and I would love it. It makes me so happy to see how you're loving the podcast, what it is that's really lighting you up and what's important to you. So please jump over, and if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe, hit that bell so that you always know when we have a new podcast out every week, and leave me a review. And when you do, I will make sure I share that on social if you share it and tag me on it. All right, have a great week, and go out there and create your first super fan and love up the super fans that you have already. All right, that's it for now. See you next week. Bye-bye.